Hey, how's everybody doing? You know, I think the more educated of us understand that the government created the Epstein didn't hang himself meme because it's a cover up, because Epstein's not even dead. Epstein clearly has the government blackmailed. He's a Mossad agent. He blackmails the leaders of the world and the stars of the media of the world, Hollywood and stuff. So they will never go against Israel, in a meaningful way. They'll never say, hey, we work in Hollywood, our bosses are all Israelis. Mel Gibson accidentally said something when he was drunk. But other than that, no one in, like, all the famous people, even the famous anti-pedophiles are Israelis. The one they advertised to you as who you got at was it Corey Haim, or was it his partner? Whichever it was, right? The one that's still alive. With his little group of angel girls. He's the one who opposes the pedophilia and stuff, supposedly, right? But he doesn't tell you the truth about what's really going on. But no one in Hollywood talks about 9/11 and who the dancing Israelis or anything like that. They don't go against the agenda. Like, they stay with the line. Like, everyone's all brainwashed, liberal and Republican and in between, and libertarian cult. And they stick with the same line. It's like no one can think for themselves and even come up with one thought outside of the box they're told. And that's largely because these people are all blackmailed and stuff, and they're not allowed to say anything else. And if they do ever say anything else, they'd be like, hey, remember when you were fucking this child? Well, we got that on videotape, so let's not talk about that anymore. And then, the Clintons or Trump will be like, oh, you got that on tape. Oh, I won't talk about, dancing. I was talking about them dancing people on 9/11. Proving that 9/11 is an inside job. Oh, you got it on tape that Donald Trump's been fucking children. I better not fucking say anything about that. Better not talk. Oh, it was the dancing Muslims. And then they'll create a fake video of dancing Muslims, even though a fake newscast where FBI rounded up dancing Muslims on 9/11. And like literally no one's ever seen the video before, and it comes out on some unknown channel, and it really is nowhere else. And it's like a real shitty, low quality recording of a VHS tape or something. So that's what happened. So, at this point, I didn't think I'd have to do a video on that, but everyone should realize that Epstein didn't hang himself because Epstein isn't dead, because no one's going to kill Epstein, because Epstein has everyone blackmailed. Netanyahu and Epstein and Barak, the Prime Minister of Israel, ex-Prime Minister, they've all got these people blackmailed. They're not going to kill Epstein, because if you kill Epstein, Epstein has a whole treasure trove of stuff that automatically gets released. Kind of like me. Like, you can kill me, but I've got information. What's going to happen? I've got other things. Someone magically one time, my arm broke, and 2 days later, the person around me I thought was an FBI agent, their arm broke at the same time too. Talk about people using voodoo spells and not realizing I've already got spells of protection on me. But there's all sorts of ways you can protect yourself, and Epstein was the master at this stuff. So he's not dead. You don't kill Epstein, because when you kill Epstein, the people who had a reason to kill him, like, all this stuff gets released into the wild. Like, everyone gets it. You all get it. The entire government gets it. That's why, even if you believe Epstein was killed, how did that happen? Well, Donald Trump was the president. Donald Trump allowed it to happen. The FBI is in charge of the nation. FBI allowed it to happen. The prison owners and prison security guards all work together to allow it to happen. So we have all these people, but in reality, all these people are all blackmailed by Epstein, and they're not going to do anything because the second they even look at him funny, Epstein's like, I got videos of you fucking children, and like, what you gonna do about it? And they're like, oh, I shouldn't have fucked those children. So he awarded Rush Limbaugh a Medal of Freedom today. And I was trying to think, why didn't Alex Jones get it? Because he thanked Alex Jones for the win, because Alex Jones is the truther, libertarian, Nazi leader. So he is the one who ushered in Trump. Like underground, it was like the Nazi white supremacists backing Trump, and then they like expose Alex Jones, like I showed in like an 8-hour freaking documentation video. Andrew Anglin and the white nationalists, the white Nazis. I mean, they call themselves white nationalists, but they're white supremacists. They told you the difference between those words, and if you can't figure out that just because they say they're nationalists that they're not supremacists, then that's too bad. But they're like the white supremacists, and they ushered in Trump. That they did that by ushering in the followers to Alex Jones. So then Alex Jones took it over, and then Trump thanked Alex Jones for the win after, because apparently Alex Jones is real media and everything else is fake media. And we already had so much proof Alex Jones is a con man. Like, I went out there in the field and confronted Alex Jones people, and all they did was try to cover it up, and we got that documented that they were covering up everything. When I was out there, like, he's not a Christian, he's covering up Bible quotes, he's scared of the Bible quotes. So, I mean, we know that he's a con man, so he's thanking him for the win. So Alex Jones should be getting a Medal of Freedom. But why is Rush Limbaugh getting America's highest honor, the Medal of Freedom? And so it quickly came to me that Rush Limbaugh is behind the Epstein didn't kill himself hogwash. Because it's hogwash, because not because Epstein didn't kill himself, but because the meme is to imply that Epstein is dead and someone killed him. But it's hogwash because no one's going to kill Epstein, because Epstein has everyone blackmailed. Israel has the world blackmailed. So they're not going to. That's why no one turns against Israel. That's why no one says anything. That's why if they do, they eventually turn around and they put their own people up there, like Bernie scumbaggers. If you don't understand, I meant Sanders. There, I said it. They put him out there because he's a Zion. He's the Zion bloodline. He's not ever going to turn against it, right? He's you just tell by him. Like, he's like, I mean, he literally looks like some sort of rat Gargamel, like out there, like trying to kill the Smurfs and stuff, like like he's laughing that he just killed a bunch of Smurfs or something. I mean, you have got to be a child, which is what the liberals are. They're preying on the liberals' minds, and they're preying on the children's minds with this type of the basic deceptions and stuff. The real easy to see stuff. Any adult can look at a person like that and be like, wow, dude, I wouldn't trust that dude, like, with $5. Because he doesn't even have to do the lay merchant thing to look like it. He just looks like it. So you can see this, like, God writes this stuff on your face, whatever you are on the inside, God's like scribbling it on your face with a marker. He's like, I mean, like, you could look at Epstein and see that he didn't look like, he looked a little extra friendly, maybe. He looked a little scared friendly, kind of. And some of these people are harder to see because they've got, like, plastic surgery, right? Like, Donald Trump's probably had tons of, his hair is fake and everything. Who knows what all he's had. And, you can tell a lot of these Hollywood stars have had their faces done and all that. So other than that, like, it takes like 4 years for the skin to grow back, like, or sag back to what it used to be. So for a few years, it's like some people are hidden behind a veil of deception. But other than that, you can look at these people and see it. So when they put out these fake anti-Israel people, like it's just to throw you a bone and stuff. Everyone else is blackmailed. Like and they're probably, who knows? Maybe they have to blackmail themselves, and maybe they don't. But that's Epstein's job, was to blackmail everybody, blackmail the world. And so he has like everyone blackmailed. Like everyone on this stage is like completely blackmailed. They've probably got stuff against me. And but I mean, what haven't they done? My cars magically fuck up. And then they come buy the car off me too. They travel thousands of miles to buy the broken car like it's a prize, like it's a gift and shit. And you know, they probably try to poison me and do other stuff. Let's not get into all this stuff. They definitely cover me up when I spend a lot of money to get some really good media attention. And that's what it, you know, I knew I was probably paying to get educated as opposed to paying to get attention. And so I got educated on how the scam works. Because if I know how the scam works, then I can teach other people what to look for. And I can be sure that what I'm saying is the truth, rather than just being like Alex Jones and saying anything, saying Chinese control America and the Muslims that took over the Federal Reserve and all this. So, what did Rush Limbaugh do to deserve this medal? Well, what Rush Limbaugh did is he helped Trump escape child rape charges by helping Epstein escape prison. And he did this because Rush was the person brainwashing like 50% of the population to say that Epstein didn't kill himself. I mean, and to keep it in line and make sure that the Clintons were the only people associated with Epstein. Like, you can tell on his site that he has been telling people that Clintons are Epstein's best friend and all this stuff, and he's never going to mention Trump. And that's because that's the whole point of the Epstein didn't kill himself meme, is to make you completely forget that the entire system had to it. Like, this dude was in like a maximum security type prison, like, and he had already been involved in so much stuff, and the police had already said before, yeah, that's weird, the feds let him off, the prosecutors let him off, the judge let him off, and they were like, we had a lot of evidence against him, but we're just letting him off. Hold on. So Rush was obviously, from what I was pulling up, he's behind one of the, he's behind like the Epstein didn't kill himself meme, like in a large portion of it, right? So what did Rush do to deserve a Medal of Freedom award from Trump? Well, what they want you to think is that Rush Limbaugh is a white supremacist who hates Mexicans, and so they made jokes, like from what I read, the liberals said they made jokes and insinuations during this time to imply that what Rush Limbaugh did was he helped secure the country from those dirty invaders and stuff, which is exactly what I've been saying. They raised the whole Nazi organization, the whole neo-Nazi organization up for, is to use Trump to defame white people and to scapegoat everything on white people, which, I mean, if you're the problem, if you're going along with this stuff, you are the problem. So, I mean, at the end of the day, you're not even a scapegoat anymore. You're a servant, and you're a soldier in the army of Zog. Even though you claim you know what Zog was, now you worship them. So they'll never talk about that. Even though Alex Jones at this point, Paul Joseph Watson, he's saying white like every 30 seconds in this one video I seen, like, gotta have more white babies. All these other people, they're breeding out of control, gotta have more white babies. And like, literally, this is set in this is exactly what I said was happening and what I said they was gonna keep doing. And but now they're just openly like transferring it over because Alex Jones is no longer on YouTube. He can say anything he wants, and what he chooses to say is to spout the white supremacist talking points. Well, keeping it low key, but it's not really low key when he's saying white every 10 seconds. But that's what they did with Limbaugh. Is they made the interaction with him and Trump look like that. The whole point of it was was because he's a good white racist, pretty much. Like at the end of the day, that's kind of like what it was sounding like. Like that's what the liberals are walking away with it, and if that's what they said, then the liberals are correct walking away with that, because that's the whole point of them saying it, is to create the scapegoat, coming straight from the Bible, the term scapegoat. They invented it. They didn't. They literally invented it. So it's no big theory that they might use a scapegoat at one point, because they've been using it since they scaped the goats 3,000 years ago and sent the goat out of the town. Comes from the term scapegoat in the Bible, where they scape a goat. And they're like, oh, the evil's on the goats. Get out of here, goat. And the goat's like, bah, or whatever this goat does. And they're like, get out of here. So now they're like scapegoating. But what's the freedom? See, they're spitting in your face. The freedom is Jeffrey Epstein and Donald Trump's freedom. That's where the freedom. That's where freedom doesn't come from building a wall and keeping out those dirty people we hate so much. The freedom, you don't even have the freedom to say that unless you're right there. Like, I can't say, unless you're part of the programming, you can't say that. Like, I can't say anything like that because I'm not part of the programming. I've been testing it forever. That's why I would say stuff like that, because I've been testing it. So you can't say that stuff. But apparently they can imply it, like right there in the middle of the freaking presidential room or whatever that is, the Senate floor or whatever. And hey, that's some freedom, but the real freedom comes in Donald Trump not being dealt his child trafficking charges, and Jeffrey Epstein being safe in a mansion in Israel instead of being on trial somewhere. So the real freedom that seems to come from this seems to be that Rush Limbaugh was the head propagandist behind it. Jeffrey Epstein is dead meme, which implying Jeffrey Epstein died in a jail cell, made it so no one questions what happened to Jeffrey Epstein for like the third time or something, because the police were already questioning. Like, if you follow the story, you can follow the police chief. Hold on. Okay, so in one of the cases, the ex-chief of police, Palm Beach, Michael Ryder, he wrote on this stuff about how everything was getting derailed, like the FBI protected. He didn't say these words, but you could tell where he was just saying, like, the case is going nowhere. Like, all these charges are being dropped, and it's like they're taking the case out of my hand, and then it's going nowhere. And this is like, I mean, they've got all this information on this dude, or they did, until the FBI and judges and prosecutors got a hold of it. And the prosecutor's not on your side. He's not supposed to be erasing evidence and stuff like this. But Michael Ryder, I spelled it R-I-T-E-R, ex-chief of police, Palm Beach, in the Epstein case. He talked about how it, pretty much he was saying that all this weird anomalies in the system happened, and he was getting off of everything because of it. And they were in a hurry to take the case off his hand, and they promised they would do everything, and instead, you know, nothing was happening. And because this wasn't like Epstein's first time here awaiting trial and stuff. I mean, he's like, these people are like control our cities and our nations. Like, Epstein was working under the person who controls my city. They like worship this dude, and they're still worshiping him too. They're making excuses for him being best friends with Epstein. They're they're making all these excuses for it, and so that's another video. But he was just pointing out how it's really weird all this stuff was happening. And then I believe the regular police in New York were also asking questions like, what happened? Like, they're like, we had him on all these charges, and then magically he's not doing anything. And then they're like, how do you even, and then the police are like, how do you even like get to go home to your fucking sex resort like half the day, every day you're in jail? And it's like, yeah, because he owns the government. Like it's just a show that he was even going to jail at all. And so Epstein is not dead, but why did Rush deserve Medal of Freedom? Well, I'm assuming that Rush also was behind the Pizzagate conspiracy, which helped protect Trump and put him in office. Not that he wasn't part of their show, and the Clintons weren't blackmailed as well. But I'm sure he helped push the Pizzagate theory, which just makes, I mean, people were just walking around saying stupid stuff. Deb, and the Clintons did it all. It's like, yeah, they're bragging about what they're doing. You might have found something intelligent to say, but like 99% of what they're telling people to say is stupid and ignorant. It's like blaming Trump. I mean, blaming Clintons when Trump is in office. Like literally, Rush Limbaugh and the right-wing retards are talking about Clintons killed Epstein in jail. Like, I mean, that's just the dumbest thing I ever heard. Like, Donald Trump's president, so he's to blame when someone gets killed in prison on his watch, someone of that level. But he doesn't care. Trump doesn't care. He didn't go save he wasn't like, oh, they killed my best friend Epstein, I'm so mad, I'm so upset. He didn't care at all, because that's not really, it was all about him working with like Rush Limbaugh and these internet bots and working with the liberals and everything, CNN, ABC, CBS, Alex Jones, young Republicans. I mean, they're all like working together. I mean, yeah, I was like reading what my city has to say about Lex Wexner, which is Epstein's handler. And they're just like, he's done so much good for our city, it would really hurt us. It would really hurt the future of our city if we continue to talk about this. And they were all like agreeing with it too. Like, there's like a Mexican person who's running for office in my city, and I don't think she's smart enough to understand that she's a target now, because she said something about not liking rape. She didn't like it when she was raped, and she was a victim of rape, and so maybe there's something more to Wexner they need to find out. But that was like literally one of the only people who said anything. Everyone else was like in agreement, like these Helping Hands, United Way, you might have heard of it. It's supposedly this great organization that helps people. The psychologist runs it, and the psychologist was like, well, it's, we don't need to talk about that. That will hurt America. That will hurt our city, and he's done so much good for our city. It's like literally this whole city is like named after this dude, like Epstein's boss, Wexner. So I mean, yeah, they've got this complete control. It's crazy. And the dual citizens run the police. The police chief in my city is a dual citizen. Israeli dual citizen. The, the oligarch they've named almost all their buildings after. Fucking. I mean, it's like they've got control. Like that's how Epstein gets out of jail. Is they go to like Rush Limbaugh and they tell him to create these stories, like Pizzagate and create a meme. Epstein didn't kill himself and show a picture of like the Clintons with a knife, and then all the bots. Like, are the humans even like real, or are they just like demons or bots or something? I don't know, man. They seem to be unable to think for themselves. But I mean, it becomes pretty obvious if you just sit and think of it. You know that Epstein didn't kill himself because Epstein's not dead. So you don't kill a person who has your entire nation blackmailed because all of a sudden your nation collapses the next day when word gets out that like 20,000 different people, like everybody in a high position was fucking children and shit. So yeah, I mean, it's just common sense right there. Like, once you like see, you don't even have to know who is he working for. Is he working for Israel? I mean, if you know anything about anything, you know Epstein's an Israeli name, and you know that's who controls America, and you know that's who Donald Trump and pals are, and you know that's who Limbaugh is like protects first and foremost. Like it's Israel first and America last. I mean, everyone knows that. Like, these people know that. Like, I've confronted people on the street. The citizens of the empire know more than they say. They're scared to. I mean, look, most of them are freaking blackmailed with children's sex and shit. So, what did Limbaugh do to deserve a Medal of Freedom? He spread the propaganda that insinuates that Epstein was killed in prison, and the Clintons did it. And I don't know who let the Clintons in the prison to kill someone or anything like that, but Donald Trump was the president, so it was his job to stop the Clintons from killing them, and he's never going to stop the Clintons. Those are his best friends. See, these Republicards, these Nazis, they've got anyone behind Trump has nothing to say of any value. I mean, they might say one or two things, but the reality is you're rolling the dice, you're expecting 3 6s, and you're only rolling 2 dices. So, I mean, good luck with that. At this point in time, if you're like behind Donald Trump, it's simply because you're not educated and you're like 10 years past education. Like, I can't give you 10 years of education. Like, you know, it'll be like 30 years for the average person to get educated enough to understand who Trump is if they refuse to watch it in the first place, which is all you really have to do is watch what's going on, and then you know what's going on, because it's like they're just like shady criminals lying and stuff. I mean, they got their hands in the cookie jar and they're like, I'm not in the cookie jar, and you're like, oh well, the Clintons put your hand in the cookie jar. Better blame the Clintons. And it just sounds so stupid. It's just like, oh, Clintons did it. Like, oh, really? I mean, seriously, like, I've heard dogs make better arguments, and I don't even understand how to bark. I don't understand their language. But they've made better arguments. So, Rush Limbaugh got a Medal of Freedom because he freed Epstein from prison, and he freed Donald Trump from Donald Trump's child sex trafficking charges. Which, I mean, there's probably way more than child sex trafficking on Donald Trump. Like, wow, like, we got proof that he likes children because look at the way he looks at his daughter and acts, and he can't even hide it. Like, I mean, I could see if like you look at a child and you don't know it's like 17 or something, and you're like, wow, that's really beautiful. a young person, and, but when you know that that child's like 13, and because it's your child, you don't just like let it hang out like and look at it like goo goo gaga eyes and shit. I mean, that's the sign of a fucking predator right there. Like, how do you spot a child predator? Well, let's walk into a room with a 12-year-old that's very beautiful. Let's see which one's eyes light up, right? Okay, we've got it narrowed down to a couple people. One of them is, probably a child predator. And when we seen Trump act like that, so we have that. Like, they all act like that. Like, literally, they're not letting anyone on stage who is a good person because they all have to be blackmailed. See, when they came into my life, I told them I'll fucking kill them and shit, right? I mean, they know right there they're going to have a hard time blackmailing me because I'm going to fucking kill them the second they're like, oh, we got you on video, fucking child. And I'll be like, you remember my promise? It's like, you might be able to trick me into something, but boy, if you try to like groom me into it, like that's going to be really hard because I'll be like, oops, accidentally fell in step. My bad. I mean, that's just who I am. Like, you can't just come up on me with some child sex and be like, here we got these beautiful little girls. They look like 14. I'd be like, huh? They look like 14, dude. I don't like no kids. But these other people like Joe Biden and Donald Trump, be like, it's a young girl. I mean, Donald Trump's like 70 dating a 30-year-old. That's pretty much pedophilia in itself. I mean, he's buying like mail order brides who can't even speak English. Like, that's pretty fucking disgusting too. Like, I don't know, dude. Like, I think I feel just as weird around a person who can't speak English. Like, I feel like I'd be taking just as much advantage of them as I would a person who's 15 years old. Like, the 15-year-old might be even more prepared for life than the person who can't speak English, and I don't understand like anything they say. So he has a habit of, I mean, who else is going to get with him, really? He's like 70 and shit. He's a womanizer who's like 70. And, I mean, he's rich. And I guess some of these whores, like, are just complete whores, and that's cool to them. But, I mean, we have these people in these situations. If anything, Trump and Clinton's, I mean, the Clintons aren't pedophiles because, look, they had to get Bill Clinton on sex with Israeli dual citizen Monica Lewinsky. I mean, why didn't they just send a child in there and stuff? Maybe because they couldn't, but they definitely use an adult in that situation to blackmail him. And you have Trump now, who this pedophile escapes from like maximum security prison on his watch, and no one even talks about. Like, he doesn't even allow the government-ran media, and it's all government-ran. It's all government, the internet, everything. He doesn't even allow that discussion to be brought up in the news. That, like, they even put out people out there who, to spread the narrative that Epstein didn't kill himself, because that's part of the propaganda. Because it'd be just unbelievable if Epstein just keeps getting off. People would be like, oh, there's something going on here. And, like the police chief, the ex-police chief, he'd be like, what's going on? You guys just keep letting these people go, and we had so much stuff against them. And it's like, yeah, well, he's got everyone blackmailed, and everyone above you blackmailed, so he's getting off. He's got the judges blackmailed. He's got the prosecutors blackmailed. These people have been running a circuit scheme. Israel has been running a scheme on America for a long time. A long time, at least since like the 1920s. I mean, I can't find anything that says that that's honest, that they're being honest when they said they started taking it over in the 20s. It doesn't look like honesty. It looks like it's another deception. Like every 10 years they have something making it look like they just took over something. Like, ooh, America just bombed an Iranian general. Or 4 years ago, America just killed Gaddafi. And 4 years before that, America just killed Saddam. Something like that. It's like they just tell you, oh, we just did this yesterday. We just started yesterday. Because it's like, it's there to put a stop to your investigations so you don't look at it no more. And you think you found the root cause of all this stuff. And they're like, oh, that's Ashkenazi. And it's like, no, well, when you read about that, the person who invented the Ashkenazi theory said he did it to invent a theory to deceive people. So, I mean, you can't even use that word, and you can't even use that word without sounding stupid, because it was completely invented just to make the case go cold, make the trail go cold. So what Limbaugh did for freedom, he provided the freedom train for Jeffrey Epstein to hop on and get back to his mansion in Israel. He provided the freedom train for Trump to hop on to get back to his mansions all over in the White House and everywhere else. So that's the true freedom he's being awarded. See, they don't just do stuff to make it look stupid, to make people look and sound stupid. I mean, people look and sound stupid already. Like, they don't have to keep doing it, but they're doing it to literally award their soldiers. Like, he was promised this shit years ago. Limbaugh was promised gratification and recognition for playing along in the role. He probably pushed the Pizzagate idea. He's like, oh, the Clintons are running child sex shops, and like that was all completely put out there to protect Epstein and Trump's relationship, because Trump was going into office at 2 months before Pizzagate like finalized. So during that time frame where Trump was getting elected and Trump got elected, Pizzagate was put out there to make people hate the Clintons, but mostly to make people forget that Donald Trump had any links to it, because no one, I mean, who are these people online? Who are these people online? For real, like, there's no way Republicans are so dumb they can think Clintons control everything. But I know most of these bots online are like fake. It's just like they're echo chambers and stuff. Like I've been saying that since the white supremacist started, before Trump was even put on the stage, to be president. So it was obvious that there was fake people posing under Nazi names and stuff like this, and because the stuff they said was too stupid to be real, to be like a person thinking, especially a person smart enough to be in these areas as well, where they were actually kind of getting educated. But you have all these things tying in to what happened and why he could get this Medal of Freedom and why he deserved a Medal of Freedom. Like, there's real legit reasons. He helped Donald Trump get into the presidency without anyone questioning why he had Epstein links too. Because if everyone would have questioned why Donald Trump and the Clintons had Epstein links, then people would have figured out the whole system is rigged, and it is. It's all fake. You don't get in the media, you don't get famous on YouTube unless they say you're getting famous. You don't get anywhere. Sometimes I wonder if the humans aren't some sort of demon race that are working directly for these people. And I guess we're going to find that out real soon. We're going to have to. I mean, there's not much more to go on, but there's definitely a lot of people working to protect Epstein's freedom and protect Trump's freedom to be a pedophile and to protect USA. I mean, there's a lot of reasons why these people are all involved in this stuff. And blackmail, the fact that Epstein has everyone blackmailed is the way it is. That's the core tenet there at the top there, is that they have everyone blackmailed, so no one's going to do anything. No one's going to turn against Epstein. No one's going to turn against Israel. When Donald Trump talks about dancing people on 9/11, he's not really talking about the person who even exposed it. Donald Trump was talking about dancing something Smoloko. Magically, now he's a Trumper. They probably came into his life and blackmailed him. Probably easy to blackmail. But I hate to let people off on assuming they're being blackmailed, because assuming you're being blackmailed is allowing that case to go cold, when in fact it could be that some of these people are just working with them and always have been, and they're working for that, that group. They're working for the group. So the truth is that Epstein is free, and the federal government is working to protect that. The FBI is working to protect that. The CIA is working to protect that. The Mossad is working to protect that. The people of the United States are working to protect that. People in other nations, Russia today, is working to protect Jeffrey Epstein. And Limbaugh must have done the most work at brainwashing people, because he gets a Medal of Freedom for this. He gets a Medal of Freedom for it. He has done nothing else. He's just an idiot who blah, 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 this and that. Like, Trump just turned Republican, like, for the election. He wasn't even Republican. Not that Democrats are any different. Democrats are freaking white supremacist Nazis, too. Like, I've cornered enough of them. You just, I mean, people are easy. You understand what they're going to say before they say it, and you cut them off, and then you derail them, and the next thing you know, they're accidentally telling you the truth. And man, America wouldn't exist if the liberals, if the Clintons weren't working with the Trumps, if the liberals on the street weren't working to protect the narrative, the liberals weren't blaming Russia when Israel controls America, if the liberals weren't blaming Trump, if the liberals started blaming Trump for hanging Epstein or letting Epstein go, then they would be thinking for themselves and not working for the American government. But they're working for the American government, so the liberals don't want to talk about Epstein's links to child sex trafficking. It's not child sex trafficking that's the problem. It's global blackmail. That's the problem. The sex trafficking is just a small part of this. I'm pretty sure that they were killing people as well. Donald Trump and Clintons and Epstein, and maybe it wasn't Epstein just like Epstein worked under the oligarch of my city, Lex Wexner. Lex Wexner might be more involved in the murder side, the ritual sacrifices, and again, they got me saying words like ritual sacrifices when these people don't do rituals and stuff. They might have this or that they do, but it's not ritual child sex. It's blackmail child sex. It's not child sex trafficking. It's providing children to blackmail people with. It's not ritual murder. It's murder so they can blackmail people. They're like, here, kill this person, and we know that we will never tell on each other. We'll both kill someone right here, and this will be a sure thing that I will never rat on you and you will never rat on me. And I'm sure by the time they get to that point, they have people blackmailed in other ways, and so they're like, yeah, well, you might as well do it, because now that you know, you're out of here if you don't play ball. So, Trump awarded Rush Limbaugh for freeing Donald Trump from child rape charges and larger conspiracy charges. The reality is this is like a larger conspiracy. There's like you don't want to tell some moron that there's something more important than a child being sex trafficking. They don't. I mean, wow. It's again, it's like the humans have no thought processes of their own, and they can't think for themselves. You don't want to tell anyone there's something more important than a 14-year-old having sex with an adult, and being sold as an adult. You don't want to tell them they're using those words incorrectly, because that's not the actual crime, because there's a larger crime going on, because somehow, like, I don't know, dude, sometimes you talk to humans and it's literally like they're not thinking beings. Like, whatever a human is, I'm not too sure anymore. It's like my computer could figure more stuff out sometimes. But whatever's going on, it's bigger than sex trafficking. It's sex blackmailing. But there's more than that going on. There's like ritual murder. There's almost certainly ritual murders going on. And some of these people, people are already claiming that some of these murders are ritual murders. Like some people think Kobe Bryant was ritually murdered and stuff. And, a person magically achieved a better score than him right before he died. And, weird coincidences happen. But there's more going on than just Jeffrey Epstein hanging himself. He didn't hang himself. No. Everyone implying Jeffrey Epstein's hanging himself is a moron at best. A very dangerous one. But they're not. And many of them are government agents like Rush Limbaugh, like all the media outlets pushing it, like Mark Zuckerberg, Facebook, Google pushes that, Microsoft pushes it, and everyone's pushing it. No, he's not dead. When they came into my life to like laugh at me about my car breaking down and stuff, and they told me, no, he's not dead. But they also told me, no, they don't control the media and everything. But then later on, they stopped talking like that because they knew I knew better. So they said, well, Israel does what Israel does because Israel needs to support itself. And it's like, okay, well, we've already caught you lying. So, at this point in time, you're basically telling me the truth by continuing to lie to me, because I have to assume that there's a lie involved, because it's already been involved in this conversation, and I've only known you for 30 minutes. So, Epstein didn't hang himself. Everyone agrees on that, right? The Clintons couldn't have killed Epstein because Trump is the precedent. He would be the one to kill Epstein. Trump wouldn't kill Epstein because Mossad has Trump's family blackmailed. And Rush Limbaugh pushed the idea that the Clintons are behind every evil in the world and the Clintons are Epstein's only friend, and the Clintons and Epstein were child sex trafficking when they weren't child sex trafficking. Epstein's a Mossad agent. He is blackmailing people for Israel. He doesn't need money. He gets plenty of money for free from the guy who runs my city, Lex Wexner, the owner of Victoria's Secrets, and he owns a war room. I've been investigating him for a long time, long before his Epstein links came out. He owns the Gap, Express, Victoria's Secrets, like I said. But in reality, all these people, all these things, even though these are mega corporations, these are fronts for who these people really are and where their money really comes from. And their money really comes from Israel, which that money does come from New York and Hollywood. But at the end of the day, these are agents of Israel. And Trump is working to protect them. All the media, Rush Limbaugh is working to protect agents of Israel. Alex Jones working to protect agents of Israel. And then you start looking at the fact that Limbaugh is probably an agent of Israel because Epstein is, Trump is, Alex Jones is. Alex Jones has literally hired Mossad Strat for Molly Maroney. But his whole propaganda is obviously that's who he works for. And then their bloodlines are in our mix as well. So that's who he works for. It doesn't matter if he works for Israel, he works for himself, which now himself is Israel. So even if he wasn't in the first place, which he probably was, so now we've got that narrowed down that pretty much everyone in the position Rush Limbaugh is, and everyone around the position Rush Limbaugh is, and everyone Rush Limbaugh protects and fabricates stories about is an Israeli agent, first and foremost. So we can just assume Rush Limbaugh is, but who wouldn't have assumed that? Who is educated anyways? That would be the Nazis who ushered in Donald Trump, the white supremacists who ushered in Donald Trump, the alt-righters, the 4chaners, and all the Daily Stormers, where Trump really came from, all that stuff. They would have assumed 10 years ago that Rush Limbaugh is an agent of Israel because they acted like they knew what they were talking about. Because they did know what they were talking about, and they were using it to deceive people eventually. So they were telling you the truth, and they would have assumed Rush Limbaugh was an agent of Israel. So what has Rush Limbaugh done to win a Medal of Freedom? He's freed America from its demise, because the second this house of cards start falling apart, America dies. So even local police, local redneck white supremacists have everything to lose. They don't even understand anything, but they have everything to lose by simply understanding one thing, that when the house of cards falls, it will completely collapse. When the propaganda is broken, when it actually breaks, and it's not just like a little thing they've done themselves to create the illusion that there's a crack in the dam. When there's an actual break, it's going to completely collapse on itself. And these attacks on the Middle East, like no nation, no empire has ever been able to survive that. It's been the end of it every time, but they still try to hold on to their nation until they're like, till it's like completely collapsed, and they're like five white people in a circle with their backs to each other fighting off invaders, as they call them. That's pretty much what happens. So once you start chipping away, if you actually start chipping away at that propaganda, it all collapses. And these people all know, even these liberals know it. These liberals, that's like the liberals will protect this stuff because they are the ones who benefit the most from the nation. Like liberals who want the free stuff, they're benefiting the most from robbing other nations. They're benefiting the most by stealing oil from the Arabs and all that. But it's all like, I mean, they all work together to benefit, but they know this. Like the liberals, it's kind of sick when I notice this. But you ask the right questions, and they're like down for USA supremacy. They're down for it. They need to spread democracy elsewhere. And when you question that, and you get about the same response you get is when you ask, like, would you give up your car for like a cheaper car if we stop robbing other nations? And it's like you just like killed their babies or something, like, which is odd because as liberals they supposedly dislike babies, but not they really. I don't think they really do. I don't think they really. I think a baby means another soldier to them. It's like it's just liberal is like all propaganda, and Republican is like half propaganda. Like they're like halfway honest. So the liberals designed to catch the children's minds who are free and open thinking, and then when they realize they're being 100% duped, they're like, oh well, there's a little bit of truth over here, and they move on to Republican, and then they're like 80 and they're almost dead. So if they ever even figure out Republicans lied to them, all they care about is Republicans are better. Like my team is better. My team is a little bit better. It's just a little bit better, but that's everything. So the Medal of Freedom goes to Rush Limbaugh because Rush Limbaugh freed child predator Donald Trump and child predator Jeffrey Epstein from prison and allowed him to get safely back to Israel without a hair harmed on his head. Or you can go with the idea that he was killed by Donald Trump to silence him. But you can't make up the Clintons walked into the jailhouse and killed Epstein. You can't make that up because Donald Trump was president. So it's just ignorant. It's pure ignorance. And you can tell when people say that's even more like to backing it up, because it's like, why'd you even fabricate something so stupid? Just say Donald Trump killed him because it was on Donald Trump's watch. But now, when you have to lie, like, you're lying for a reason. So they're lying because Jeffrey Epstein isn't dead. And Rush Limbaugh gets the Medal of Freedom for brainwashing the most people that Jeffrey Epstein is not dead, or is dead. And the meme implies, the meme says he's not dead. See, they're not even lying when they make Jeffrey Epstein didn't kill himself. It's like, yeah, like literally they're telling you Jeffrey Epstein didn't kill himself. It's like, but then then everyone implies, oh, the Clintons killed him. And said, okay, whatever. It's stupid. It's stupid to talk about this because talking ain't the answer. I mean, you can, like, whatever the humans are, they seem like uneducatable to a certain extent. They're completely controlled by radio waves and poisons in the water and poisons in the food and their own willing participation in the show. It just seems pretty bad at the end of the day. Not sure what happens, who we got to go on, who we got to help us, if anyone. But Rush Limbaugh gets a Medal of Freedom because he freed Donald Trump and he freed Epstein from prison. That's what it's all about.